not passionate enough about Domino's.
I'm a New Yorker. When it comes to pizza, I'm also not passionate enough.
You grew up in New York?
Yeah, right outside of Manhattan.
Right outside. Is
30
that
minutes.
Westchester?
It is Westchester.
You can just say Westchester, man.
No one knows it. No one knows it.
You have a podcast about tea. If they say you grew up in New York, they're gonna guess it's Westchester.
Listen, I think all our listeners know I'm in Westchester. By the way, speaking of the tea, have you had the tea?
No, not yet. Wait, which part of Westchester? What are we talking here? Larchmont.
How do you know so much about Westchester?
Is that where?
No, Scarsdale.
Scarsdale. Okay.
Oh, that's really good.
That's so nice, dude.
What we're drinking, by the way, for those listening at home, we are drinking All Things Nice by Bird and Blend. It is lovely. It's literally got rose petals in it. It's a wonderful herbal. It brews. I couldn't even find the word just now. It brews right around, I would say 175, because I think it's got a little bit of some green tea in it, and it's for 3 minutes. So if you're brewing it at home, 175, 3 minutes, All Things Nice, Bird and Blend. Why do you know so much about Westchester, New York? You haven't answered that. I'm dying to know.
I spent a summer working at an investment bank. And so you end up working with a lot of people from Westchester.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Your life is so wildly confusing to me because I know you as, I know you as a lover, not a fighter. Yeah. I know you as a lovely, wonderful human being, but
Thanks,
I know you
man.
as a comic.
Yeah.
Who's also world traveled.
Thanks.
Very worldly. Oh. And also has worked in very impressive fields. But you're still on my couch. So how, so do you
what are the turns that I've taken to make my parents so angry is the question.
Well, because I don't usually, this is not a podcast where I go, tell me how you got into comedy.
Yeah.
But your path does strike me as interesting.
It's weird. I like comedy because, dude, I like making jokes.
More than making money.
I grew up clearly. Yeah, that's what's upsetting. It's actually... Yeah, we don't need to think about that.
Yeah,
right
don't think
now.
about it. Don't think about
it. I grew up as like this foreign kid and was smaller than a lot of the other kids, and so I think humor was like a coping thing, maybe, or maybe it's just how I fit in. I don't know. I haven't gone to enough therapy to fully understand.
Oh, I just went to therapy today.
I'm proud of you. I've been to a few sessions, didn't care for it, gave up. Tried 2 different therapists. I was like, this shit sucks, man. Anywho, back to humor. I started like telling jokes as a kid. I like loved it. I did speech and debate in high school, and I would put like jokes in all my speeches, and like sometimes they became like more irreverent than they needed to be.
Was it like extemp, original oratory?
I did special occasion speaking.
Okay.
And so, it's like, I'm like talking about the Gettysburg Address, but being like, she had a fatty or like something like that. And like doing like humorous duet acting and
You did duo interpretation.
Oh, yeah. I did duo stuff, man.
I won Princeton in duo in high school.
You guys heard of Princeton?
Yeah.
Is that where you went to college?
No, I went to college at a place called Wash U in St. Louis.
Okay, got it. They had the Tempur-Pedic mattresses in the dorms. Right?
Not when I went.
Not when you went?
No.
That was like their big selling point, dude.
So there were new dorms and old dorms. I was in an old dorm. You didn't get a choice. You just got put where you got put.
You got put where you got put?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you're like a school like Wash U and like any of these good schools, right? You're taking like the cream of the crop from every other school. So you can't really separate them in the same way. Like a state school has like an honors college, and those honors college kids get to choose. But like when your whole school is on honors college, it's like, what do you do? What do you do? He's just going to be look at the draw shit.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially are like, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And that's kind of what happened.
But you do get upset because you're paying $60,000 a year. And do you know who my dad is? You know?
Oh my God. I went to school with everybody like that. The do you know who my dad is people were just a joy to be around.
Yeah, dude. A lot of do you know who my dad is?
Yeah.
You work a full-time job right now still.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You're balancing both.
What, like that in comedy?
Yeah.
And the podcast?
Yeah.
And planning a wedding? Yeah, I do all those things.
Planning your wedding right now?
I am planning the wedding.
How far are we talking right now?
It's like, when is the wedding?
Yeah.
September, early
September. Of this year?
Yeah.
Okay, venue, everything's locked in.
Venue's sort of locked in.
Sort of locked in.
I still need to. Yep. Now you see why I'm stressed. I still need to put a deposit down.
Got it. But you blew your wad on tea
Correct.
in London. So
Yeah. So Janesh saw my tea selection and was just like, so this is where the money went.
Yeah.
Wait, so hold on. So you were telling your story and then you jumped into my wedding. Tell
Nah,
me,
dude, I'm curious about this.
you can ask me whatever you want, but I want to hear. So you were doing that and you were having more fun telling jokes.
Yeah, I did speech and debate. I was like, I want to do comedy. I started doing improv when I was in high school. So that was like my first foray into the world of performing comedy. Loved it. I had a lot of fun. Stand-ups love to make fun of improvisers, and they should. Stand-up is more fun, but improv is great.
I like improv.
I'm not one of those stand-ups who's like, oh, improv's dope.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing it, and I was like, I want to do this. But that's when like that whole like first-gen immigrant took over, and I was like, I got to figure out like stability. So here's where it gets interesting. I enter college in a direct to grad school. You know those programs where in high school you apply to undergrad and grad school at the same time?
Yes.
So you have like your seat in both.
There was like 5-year like Master of Accounting programs.
Exactly, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I did that for pharmacy. So I was in a direct program where I was going to do undergrad, go to pharmacy school. I was a biochem major. Didn't want to do biochem anymore. Become an econ major and poli-sci junior year. And I was like, this is dope. But I did that. I was like, I don't want to do pharmacy stuff. I'm going to figure out like getting involved in like public policy or something. Deep down, I knew I wanted to be a comic, but I was like, I'm going to figure out something else that excites me as much as comedy does. And then hopefully I won't have to think about this comedy thing again. And I become an econ poli-sci major. Then summer after junior year, okay, I'm going to drop some names for this next section.
Get excited.
I don't want to do this, but I just want to put these so you can frame how fucking mad my parents are anytime they have to think about what I'm doing. So summer after junior year, I intern at Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
I get a return offer from Goldman Sachs to work there after college. I would have been making like, I think like 120 or 130 grand out of school, dude. Out of school. I turn it down because I'm like, I don't like this. And my parents are like, what are you doing? I was like, this is boring. I get a scholarship through the State Department to go teach English in Turkey.
Okay.
And I'm making $720 a month after taxes doing this. But it's like through the State Department, it's got its own like cachet to it and whatnot. I go do this, have a blast, love it. And in Turkey is like where I start working out because I'm living in this like rural mountain town that has like not a lot going on. So I just start like hitting this gym with this former Iranian bodybuilding champion who owns it. And we can dive into this.
Yeah, your life is baffling. Continue.
Then I moved to the Bay Area after teaching for a year to work for LinkedIn. I'm in like their data analytics and like strategy rotational program. I work there. After like 3 years, I was like, this stuff is boring. I'm going to go try sales. So I enter software sales. I was like, this is really fun. I enjoy doing sales. So I started comedy like right before I started doing sales. I was just like, so it kept gnawing at me of like, I want to do this thing. I know I like comedy. One of my good friends dies. We're at his wake sharing stories. And I was like, all right, what's my thing going to be? Like tomorrow, if I get hit by a car, like, are people going to be like, oh, he was really good at B2B SaaS? Or
that's what I say about you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really understand enterprise solutions. That's what I'm known for.
Sure.
And I was just like, I got to do this thing that's been like gnawing at me from the inside the whole time. So yeah, and that's kind of the path. Sorry, this was so long. That's the podcast, right? We're out of time.
No, so I was going to say, so we're going to, so if anyone is tuning in right now, you won't know this. We just edited down 10 minutes into just this. So for those listening, just to give a summary of what you missed, Janesh is a talented guy, and then he made the mistake of doing comedy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so on the average day, on a scale of 1 to 10, but let's be honest, 8 to 10, how disappointed are your parents in you? An 8, 9?
So here's what's interesting. They saw me live recently. I was at Zany's with Jesus Trejo. So I've been like going
Rosemont or Chicago?
They saw me in Rosemont. So
Okay.
we did both clubs.
Yeah.
They saw me in Rosemont. And the next day, my parents like, that was really funny. Like, we don't really get what you're doing, but yesterday helped us understand and put a little more faith in what you're doing. So I think it's down to maybe a 7 now.
Wow, good for you.
But I think it's like they're supportive of like, hey, figure out your dream, whatever. But I do think, and I get it, right? If you're an immigrant who's like sacrificed so much to come to this country, and then you've done like all the right things, and you think like your kids have gotten a good education and worked at good companies and built a resume, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to go tell jokes for $20 and a drink ticket. And you're just like, oh, why?
Well, so they often don't know this, but those drink tickets, this is fun, are currency nowhere, and not even in the club.
It's crazy. The drink tickets sometimes don't even cover like what you actually want to drink.
That is correct.
Almost never.
Yeah, you go bring your drink ticket and you go, hey, can I get like a whiskey soda? And they'll be like, oh, sorry, so you need 4 drink tickets for that? You only have 1. You can have a PBR, but only half of it, and it's one that someone's already drank.
Yeah. We have some leftover PBR for you.
Yeah.
It's warm.
Yeah, we're going to be honest. We found it in the bathroom on top of the toilet tank, but there is still half of it left. We're pretty sure it's not urine.
Dude, speaking of toilet tanks, I used to perform at this spot in San Francisco a lot
Brainwash.
when I was like starting out. I wish. Brainwash was great. Yeah. It's a venue that's still there, and any comic will know, but I haven't performed there in years. They don't have doors on their bathroom stalls. So if you're like pooping, it's just like toilet to eye contact. Like if someone walks by and you're just taking a dump, like here's the door, and you're like, how you doing? Yeah.
Wait, I have to, because I've performed at a lot of places in the Bay. What is this place?
Yeah, hey, we could name it. Who gives a shit? They're not online. Milk Bar. You been to Milk Bar?
Have I been to Milk Bar? Let me tell you something. Milk Bar, very recently. Okay, so I did Milk Bar back in the day. Then I took a step away from Milk Bar. Because Milk Bar...
Yeah, because your career was going better.
Yeah.
Milk
Milk Bar used to be a part of... Okay, this is going to bore anyone that's on comedy, so I'll make it really fast. There used to be a collective in the Bay, which is called the Hella Funny Collective. And they're
there.
Yeah, and well, they had all these different venues back in the day. So they had like Milk Bar on Thursdays, and then they had Neck of the Woods was Sundays, and there was different bar on Fridays. I can't remember the name, but like they did all these things. So back in the day, I would do Milk Bar every now and again because like the Hella Funny crew would be like, hey, we're going to throw you at these 6 venues, and like inevitably one was always Milk Bar, and it was like fine. Fast forward to 6 months ago or something.
Yeah,
I'm there. I'm like in the Bay. I'm doing a couple of shows, and I can't remember who it was. Someone texted me and was like, "Hey, so and so told me that you're in town and you can do 15 minutes. Can you come do Milk Bar?" And I was like
right now, like an emergency.
It was like the next day.
Okay.
And I was like, Milk Bar. I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna do it, but like, I was like, fine.
It's right near Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties of it.
Well, so I go and do this, and this one guy, I have a joke where I throw out what seems like a crowd-worky question only just to have people cheer. I go, does anyone else not like their day job? Everyone goes, woo! And I go, cool. And I move on.
Yeah.
And I say that, and no one makes a sound. And I go, so just to be clear, everyone in Milk Bar on a Thursday night, we all love our jobs. You're at Milk Bar. I just want to make sure I'm really clear with how you all feel about where you are in life right now. And there's one guy in the front looks up at me. He goes, "Nah, dude, everybody's fine. You're the one who hates your fucking life."
Oh.
And I said, and I'm like, look at this guy, and I'm like, and in my head, the entire time I'm just going, "You're at Milk Bar. Did you expect better than this? You're at Milk Bar. This is what you get." And then I just like looked down at this guy and I was like, here's what's crazy. It's a Thursday night. Everything's popping off. I'm not the one who came to a comedy show by myself.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I just like start going. I don't like go after him, but like I definitely gave him a piece of my mind. And then as I left, I was like, cool, never again. And then just like went on my way.
Damn, dude, that's an alpha ass moment for you.
Just like I cannot. That.
Did you tell Jess this? Was your fiance like, that's what I'm talking about?
I might have. Yeah. She saw the worst heckle I ever got, which was in the Bay at Comedy Oakland.
What was the worst heckle you ever got?
I talk about how it's the same joke actually, where I say I'm like, does anyone else hate not like their day job, and I talk about how the first job I had coming out of school was in multicultural marketing for General Mills. I say in the joke, I go, have you ever walked into a job and on your first day immediately find out you're not qualified?
Yeah.
And this woman yells out, is it because you're a Jew? And I was just like, holy shit, you know? And then I spent the rest
Have you addressed at any point in your set that you're Jewish
I don't
up
think
until
so.
this point?
I don't believe so.
But she just caught the vibes.
Yeah, and I was like, and I literally said, so the fact that I was white was totally fine, but the fact that I'm a Jew really rubbed you the wrong way. And then
That's
I just kind of like went in on it.
So funny.
I have seen some people where I'm just like, you're Jewish?
Yeah.
Like, you know who I discovered was Jewish the other day that really blew my mind? Jack Black. Wouldn't have guessed it.
Really?
I should have guessed it.
I think, yeah, that one doesn't surprise me.
Scarlett Johansson, does that one surprise you?
A little more than
Okay.
Jack Black for sure.
Okay. I was surprised by both.
Like Robert Downey Jr. would surprise me.
There's no way.
Yeah, that one would surprise me.
See, it's easier for you. Do you ever get pride when you like see someone cool and you're like, oh, you know, they're Indian.
Brown?
Nice.
Oh, big time, dude.
Yeah.
Big time.
Do you think about
Every fucking CEO. We're nailing it right now. You know how sick that is?
Do you think about who reps your culture in Hollywood where you're like, that's my dog?
There's not a lot of us, man, but like Dave Patel is coming
I'm
out
sorry, is
with
it pronounced Patel?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
You're not alone. That's like most of America. And that's like to the point where like now when brown people even say it, they're like, oh, Patel. It's like in like a regular conversation. But yeah, Dave Patel.
So it's also not Dev, it's Dave.
Dave.
What is that? This is a stupid question. Is that like is that name or that pronunciation, is that like Hindi? Is that okay, it is Hindi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Hindi,
he's
Punjabi.
from a state called Gujarat. So
Well, Gujarati is its own own language. is it
yeah,
not?
yeah, but like the name Dave is like across the country.
Oh.
But yeah, like Dave's coming out with that Monkey Man movie.
I'm gonna watch it. I don't
Dude,
even
it looks
care.
sick.
It's like a new John Wick, and I'm ready to go.
It's brown John Wick,
And
and
you know
that's
what?
I look at that. I'm like, sick. Give me more of that.
I love when I see a trailer and I go, didn't know I needed this, but I do. Like that. That's what that was how I felt with that.
It looks so good. I mean, I love when I see like Hassan on stuff.
Okay. So I also love when I see Hassan on stuff, and I also love that you pronounce it that way because
Yeah.
I heard him tell a story about pronunciation of his own name and how he began to own it later.
Yeah.
Like instead of Minaj, it's Minhaj, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's good to know. Did you, when that whole controversy happened, were you just kind of like, I support what he's doing, and I get there's some problems here, but I'm all good, or did you dive into the controversy?
No, the former. Yeah, I was like, listen, I can understand why when someone's like doing the new stuff or whatever, like some people might be deterred by it, but overall, I was like, it's like he's out here doing his thing. It's stand-up comedy. You know, he like says stuff. I have a joke where I talk about the first time I met President Bill Clinton, and at the end of the joke, the punchline is basically like, chicks dig this story. And so everything leading up to that point in the story is true and it happened. But obviously the president did not turn to me and say, chicks dig this story.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
But like, why? I don't want to like wade in the Hassan waters here, but like I'm like, do you think those are some big lies? Boy, I have some other comedians to introduce you to because
Yeah.
you think
Do you
he
think
lied.
Dave Chappelle actually bought crack from a baby in DC at like 2 a.m. or whatever the joke is? Like, no.
I don't believe 95% of what comes out of his mouth. But
Yeah.
it is crazy the amount that people lie. Do you, when you're writing comedy, do you think about whether something's a lie or not? I don't think about that at all.
I try to so that's what's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a part now where after everything that's happened and I talk to more of my friends, they're like, oh yeah, like this never really happened to me. I was like, what? And I was like, I thought this was like really something you're dealing with. They're like, no. I was like, how do you tell it with such passion? Because that's the thing I'm struggling with. Pretty much everything I've written about so far is like grounded in reality and then like blown up, right? That's kind of what we do.
I think that's what we're all doing.
Yeah, like,
Or most of us.
and so I want to keep it that way. I think that's the best way to do it because whenever I try to write I've tried now, like after I was like, okay, this thing never happened to me, but it could be funny, and I'll tell this story, and I was just like, my heart's not in this shit.
No.
I can't tell it well.
Well, that's the other thing is like the reason I don't make up stories is because I'm not going to remember that. Like, I don't want to. Someone asked me once, they were like, and this drove me crazy. They're like, so I'm guessing you're a clean comic because that's just how your comedy, like, that's just kind of your inclination. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, dude, I'm filthy off stage. But like, here's the trick. I don't want to memorize 2 sets of jokes. I don't have any interest in that. I don't want to memorize different shit for different venues and different situations.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have like my, hour and a half or whatever it may be that I kind of cycle in and out of. Every single joke within that chunk of time is all clean. So I can rip
very
and replace
impressive.
wherever I want. Are you not? Because I've seen you do stand-up. I don't remember you being overtly dirty.
No, I'm not overtly dirty. I think I just do have more of a tendency to swear, but it's very easy for me to keep it clean.
Yeah.
So I try to veer more on the unless I need to say it, don't say it territory. But definitely when I'm crowd working, I kind of just let it rip more.
I've let it rip before.
Yeah.
But but for the most part, I keep it clean. Here's my question for you. This seems like a non sequitur, but I've been thinking about it because you're one of the few people who I think is in this boat with me. So obviously I'm engaged. You know, getting married. You've been through this already. You are married. Do you find that the balance ever gets easier, or does it change in terms of balancing comedy and the pursuits that come along with it and your primary relationship in your life?
I think ultimately life boils down to how many priorities can you rank and what can you truly get done. And for me, I would say that balance has gone through waves, right? There are times and stretches where I think it's I have to devote a lot of time to one over the other. And then eventually, hopefully it gets closer to 50-50. I don't think anything in life is ever 50-50, work-life balance, any sort of balance. I think all these things live in a harmony with each other. I think in terms of comedy and relationships, it becomes easier to manage only when you don't have another career too. I quit my job last year, and that gave me a lot more time to balance things.
Did it not put more of the pressure on?
It puts more of the pressure on in the sense of okay, I got to figure out how to make this comedy thing work now if we're thinking about doing a regular family life at some point. But ultimately it's if you want to chase this, I think it's on you to be all right, this is my priority and you're my priority. But these other things are just going to have to fall to the wayside. There's so many hangouts with friends that I simply can't do, or events I have to skip, or weddings I've missed because I'm working this club for the first time and this is the weekend they gave me. So even though this wedding's happening, it's I can't be there.
Yeah.
But it's when you need me to be there for something, I'll be there for you. But it's realize that I can't give that sort of attention and love to everyone.
The way that someone put it to me recently is that you have a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
At any given time.
Yeah.
It's important to know which ones are rubber and which ones are glass. Because if you drop a rubber ball, you can pick it back up. You drop a glass ball, you got a problem. And I think that that's kind of how I view...
It's a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it, but I will take full credit. I just looking at the barrel, Josh Lanzet said this. But I do think, and I mentioned this, believe it or not, on the podcast with Stuart, which, as you said, was probably the whitest podcast ever recorded.
Dog, Stuart Thompson and Josh Lanzet on a podcast. Just cozy-ass white boys sipping tea together, talking about their favorite release of the new Eddie Bauer collection. That's what I assume. I haven't listened to the podcast.
Don't.
But I know
that's
what that episode is.
Yep.
And then they're like, why did Friends get canceled? I don't know, man. How do we bring it back on the air?
That is, yeah. That's what we also were both just we were who's your favorite rapper? And we were both just picking the whitest black rappers we could find. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Who are your whitest black rappers, Josh Lanzet?
I would say Kyle's probably up there as a white black rapper who I listen to a lot. I was just listening to his album the other day. Well, I guess one of my favorite rappers of all time is Childish Gambino. Is he considered a white friendly black rapper?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I could see you being really into Childish Gambino.
I diehard Childish Gambino fan.
Yeah. Were you a creative writing major? What's your...
that is hilarious. I came into freshman year with literally no clue.
Okay.
But I wanted to be... I was a jazz musician, so I was I just want to be a rock star.
Oh my God, you were a jazz musician?
Yeah.
And that's really into you were one of those, man, you see guys?
Yeah. So I would come in and I'd be all right, so what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you wear a 3-piece suit to orientation? Paint a picture for me of 18-year-old Josh.
No, I didn't dress that casual to an orientation. I was wearing a tux. So are you ready for the first segment?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
So the first segment is called the Newly Friend Game. It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends.
Okay.
So you have a whiteboard over there with a marker.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask you a question. You're gonna write down your answer, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna write down what I think your answer is, and then we'll flip and see if we got it right, and then we'll do the same thing for me.
Okay.
I had a bunch of questions I was thinking of, but now I just have a funny question. I think this is based on our conversation, what we have to do, which is, and don't say your answer, write it down. What is your favorite super white fashion brand? Just like such a white boy. Like you made jokes about Eddie Bauer.
Yeah.
That kind of fashion brand.
Yeah. Super white fashion brand that I like to wear.
That you're willing to wear because you're a fashionable guy. So I don't think
Thanks,
you'd
man.
wear most of these brands. So I want to know which one you would actually wear.
Yeah. You gotta remember though, I mostly grew up in the Midwest. So
Don't give me any hints.
your boy rocked white fashion.
One, two, three, flip. Oh,
Dude, great guess.
I said J. Crew. Janesh said Abercrombie.
The reason I said this is
A&F,
because
baby.
A&F has really gone through a resurgence.
I heard it's good now.
It's been good for a few years, I'll be honest. But J. Crew, I wore a lot of J. Crew back in college and shortly after, so you're not wrong. And that was gonna be my other one I would have written on here. But J. Crew recently, I'm just like, I can't just wear 7 gingham shirts. I gotta have something different.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend I don't have some because I do.
Still, you own multiple J. Crew gingham today.
So let me tell you this. I don't grow out of clothing very often.
Yeah.
Like I've been wearing, this is embarrassing, I have the build of like a stocky 9-year-old girl. I've been wearing like a size small for quite a while.
Brittany just had her first period and she's pissed.
I was gonna say I'm with you, Brittany. But yeah, so I've had a shirt. I've had like 2 or 3 J. Crew shirts I've been wearing for gosh, almost 10 years. I mean,
That's fair. I get that.
Yeah, I just don't.
I get that.
I don't need to scope them out. And I'll tell you the brand that you're going to really make fun of me of in a second. Same question for me, because this is the brand you're going to make fun of me for. What is the super white guy fashion brand that I am most willing to shop at?
Oh,
I'm going to write down. I'll give you credit for either one, if you can get it. But I still have a fair bit of stuff from these.
Well, so now that you gave me that hint, I can tell you what my answer would be given the context you gave me. I wrote something else down on here that I could see you for sure rocking.
I'll give you points for either one if you.
Okay, the first one, I think what he has is Banana Republic.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and turn this down. 1, 2, 3.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
So I had Banana Republic.
And I wrote Allbirds.
Fun fact, do not own a single Allbirds item. But the second thing I wrote was Bonobos. I don't know how white boy brand that is, but I do own a bunch of Bonobos.
It makes sense.
Wait, what did I say that gave away Banana Republic?
When you said you've had a couple of pieces from them for years now and you still wear, I was like, there's only one I can think of that consistently would be something you can wear from like early 20s to early 30s that kind of retains that look.
So you know what it is? It's a couple of shirts and then it's a couple of black sweaters.
Yeah. It's a classic look. It goes, for a long time.
Yeah, I have black crew neck sweaters from Banana Republic and a couple of black V-necks.
The merino wools.
Yes.
They're good ones.
So that's exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Am I that obvious that you just named really big parts of my wardrobe?
No, I mean kind of, but also like it's not just you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who, like, if they're walking down the street, I can tell you, I was like, yeah, that's a lot of merino wool Banana Republic right there.
I just want to be clear for those who are watching, not listening. I am not currently wearing a Banana Republic sweater. I don't think you'll be able to guess what this is. You could try.
Oh, dude. So the texture's a bit lifted, so it's looking like cashmere that's pilling, or at least a little bit of cashmere blend.
Unbelievable. No, it's straight cashmere.
Okay, it is cashmere.
That's crazy.
And let's see, that color, only a few brands would kind of make that. I'm going either Club Monaco or Vince.
Okay, both are good guesses. It's actually, this is why I didn't think you would get it. This is Bloomingdale's brand cashmere sweaters.
Okay.
That is my big secret for people who love cashmere. Bloomingdale's actually makes phenomenal cashmere sweaters.
Hell yeah.
There is a gentleman who I love, shout out to Graham, who I call my like a gay fashion icon.
Okay.
And he's a good buddy of mine, and he turned me on to this. that's good on you, but you know what really is your cut? And I was like, how would you know what's my cut? And he goes, just go with me here. He goes, if you worn a Bloomingdale's cashmere sweater? And I was like, I don't own many cashmere sweaters.
That's
and he's
so
like,
funny.
you will now. And now I'm hooked.
There you go.
Do you wear cashmere?
I do. Yeah, I like cashmere.
By the way, we're done with the Newly Frank game. You can put the board down.
Oh, okay. And I was
the whole thing.
I thought we were quizzing still. I was like, let's rip
Listen,
it.
we can quiz all day long. I will say, so because we talked about this off mic, but on mic we haven't talked about it. Your jacket game is so fucking amazing.
Thanks, man.
Weird. What informed your fashion sense? I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Like, you can ask anyone who's listening, like, ask other comedians who I've had on here and say, like, does Josh talk about Janesh's, like, jacket game? Yes, I do. All the time. You have such a wonderful fashion sense. And I say this
Thanks,
as a compliment.
man.
I hope
I
you take this the
appreciate
right
that.
way. You're not scared to try things that are a little bold.
Yeah. I was just ready to peacock.
Yeah, where did all this come from? What informed it?
Like what informed the fashion or the risk taking? I feel like
Both.
those are two different. Yeah. I mean, I just really like clothes. I think I come from a family that likes clothes, like my parents.
They're fashionable too.
Yeah, they take pride in what they wear. My sister works in fashion. She actually works for Bloomingdale's.
Are you
it's really
kidding me
funny.
right
Yeah,
now?
my
Could
little-
she hook me up with some free
she
cashmere sweaters?
Probably not free, but probably a good discount.
Oh my God, hook it up.
She
What's her
hasn't
name?
given me anything free, so unfortunately,
Shout her name out.
Radhika.
I love you, and I would like throw me some discounts, please. I'm a sweet boy, and I do my best, and I'll shout you out on the pod all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so she works in fashion.
She works in fashion.
Is she like a buyer?
She's a buyer.
Amazing. Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
because you watch a lot of Friends, so you know what job Rachel does.
Can I tell you? The reason I know that job is when I was at WashU. When you hit, I don't know if this happened to you. When you hit your like senior year, and all these jobs start popping up for like, and you don't know what you want to.
Like the Gap. And their buyer role and
buyers
shit like
for Bloomingdale's and Macy's.
Yeah.
Roles open.
same parent company.
Yeah, they all open, and because none of us knew what we wanted to do, we're all applying for all of these things.
So funny.
Yeah, I applied. Of course, I didn't even get an interview. What do I know about
so
that?
Funny. Yeah. So fashionable family that's into clothes.
Yeah.
I've always really been into like movies and stuff. And so
How has that not come up on the pod? Yeah, go ahead.
You gotta like when you're like watching this and you're so absorbed. I like one of the things I like about movies is like the look of the hero, right? It's so like movies like James Bond is the reason I got into both cars and watches.
Are you into cars and watches?
I am big time, yeah. Anything that is like cost prohibitive to get into, I've gotten into it, and it's so annoying that I've chosen comedy as my career, but I want to own like a Porsche 911. Because do you know how many goddamn tickets you have to sell in stand-up to one day own a Porsche 911? It's insane. And then
you combine both of ours. We can't afford a tire. Yeah.
No, not at all. Like we couldn't even get the damn thing serviced. And my wife's also really into clothes, and she has like a
great.
very particular sense of style. She's like so specific about like silhouettes and stuff because she knows how to make clothes. So like she knows how to sew, and she's like made her own clothes before. So I'm surrounded by people who are also really into clothes. And yeah, I'm just like into it. And I think here's the thing, comics, and also this bothered me in the tech world. People be like, oh, like your appearance, all this shit doesn't matter. It's like, yo, that's the first thing people see.
Correct.
Okay, when you walk on stage or when you walk into an office, people are like, what does this person look like? Did they put effort into their appearance? Are they groomed, etc.? And I do think like dressing a particular way has helped me with comedy because I think, to your point, like people comment on it a lot and like bring it up. Like even like headliners I've worked with will like comment. They're like, "Oh, you wore like a different type of fit every day. Like this is pretty cool." I was like, "Thanks, man." Like,
so it's funny. I came up, and you'll appreciate this because it's Chicago. When I came up in Chicago, I was working in Second City. It was drilled into your head. As soon as Second City starts working with you, they drill this into your head. These people are paying money, not just for tickets. They're paying for a babysitter. They're paying for parking. They're paying for tickets to see you. You better be dressed nicer than your audience. You better be dressed so you're dressed in a way where they've paid their money to come see you, and they are seeing someone who is taking that opportunity and that moment in their life seriously. And so we would come full suit and tie. every single performance. That
Is that why Mulaney dresses like that?
I don't know if he was in Second City, but like probably, but like I did, that was like a big thing. It was like Second City was like, don't fuck around. And let me tell you something. I was very anal about this because I saw someone get yelled at once, and I was like, that'll never be me. But if you showed up in dirty shoes with a collar that was like matted with like a stained tie, shit like that, you'd get in trouble. Like they you not like trouble, but like your director would call you out for sure. So I never did that, man. I was ironing my shirts every time, starching those collars, like
hell yeah,
showing up in that way. So I completely agree with you. And when I get on stage, I'm not gonna say I dress great, but like I clean up, man. Like
you're
I'll
well
wear a
dressed,
nice
you're
sweater.
clean cut. Like,
yeah, I get up there.
When you get up there, I know you're employed. I think that's what, like some comics get up there and I was like, yeah, dude, this person, they haven't had a real job in a long time.
Yeah, you see some people get up there and you're just like who? No, is someone forcing you to be here? Like,
dude, I think that mindset, like what you said about Second City and how they're like, they didn't just buy tickets. They got a sitter. You have no idea what they went through to get here. They parked, they Ubered, whatever it may be. And that's one of the things that like drives me up a wall a bit is, and this kind of got me a bit of a narc reputation with some Bay Area comics.
I love it.
But some comics would go up like either drunk or high and like do like a very mediocre set and then like mention on stage like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm high right now. And I'm just like, bro, you're at work. Like, this is fun. What we do is very fun. I love what we do, but it's a job.
Yeah.
And you're showing up to the workplace in a different state of mind, giving a subpar ass performance. And especially like some comics would like go to a venue where they don't even get booked regularly and be high for their set. And it's like, I get if you have to take the edge off and do something, but it's like, you got to show up. You want to work here again? Like, this is an interview, you moron.
Yeah, I not only that, I always hated this, but it's funny. So Jess, my fiance, doesn't do comedy, but the two.
God bless.
Yeah, I know.
God bless.
Well, you're in the same situation.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful thing. But the thing that drove her absolutely fucking insane, which always drove me crazy, but hearing it drove someone else crazy, really made me feel validated. Is she would say, my least favorite thing is when I go to see you perform, and there's another comic on the bill that says, I don't know. What else? And she's like, what do you mean you don't know? I paid to see you. You have to be up there for what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? What else? What else is in your set? How about you get to it? You don't know? You should have prepped. Like, I don't
Or
wanna...
like do it in a way where you're like, if there's something else they want to talk about, like if you're trying to figure out where to go with your set, talk to the audience, but make it like an experience for them and not like you trying to figure shit out while you're up there. Because here's the thing, we are trying to figure stuff out when we're up there. Well, that's exactly what we're doing. But you can't present it in a way where you're like, here's a super unfinished raw product.
No, which is why I always slip in my raw stuff. That sounded inappropriate. That's why I always like...
Slip it in raw, Josh Lanzet.
That's what I do. Yep. That, we all heard it. I'm not going to take it back. That's why I put like all the new material. You bury it in other stuff. So it's like...
But that's a different thing, right? Burying new material and things is so different than like just being up there stuck, being like, oh, what else?
The other thing is like I have an improv background, so I'll just find my way out of it if I need to.
Yeah.
But like these comics that just sit there and go, they're like, I don't know. I'm so
You know what the funniest part is? Like, we're just sitting here being like, these goddamn comics, as if our careers are like murdering right now.
No, absolutely not.
Like
Stagnant.
Josh and I selling out the Nokia Theater. We have some advice.
You know
for
what?
You guys.
Let me tell you something. By the end of this year, you and I will sell out a big space. I feel it.
I'm into it.
I feel it.
I'm into it.
Let's do this, baby.
Manifest it.
This. I got it. And
is there a manifestation tea? Is there a
that's
tea?
What this is.
Okay, that's good.
This is our manifestation tea.
It's very rose forward. I like it, dude.
I love it.
It tastes Persian, right? It tastes like a Nowruz tea.
I don't know what that is. Should I be drinking
It's
it?
like the Persian New Year.
Oh.
It feels like what they would drink on that. You know what I'm saying?
Every single time someone comes here and teaches me about a new tea, I always try to like go pursue
I don't know
it.
if they drink it, to be clear.
Oh.
I'm just saying it feels like this is the flavor they would drink.
I will.
Persians, are you out here? Are you guys listening? We're in LA.
Yeah.
We're in LA. I saw 7 white Beamers on my drive over here. So please tell us about your teas.
Yeah. When you see a really fancy like new car lot, that's how you know Persians are around. I hate to do this, but are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do the lightning round,
Okay,
dude.
let's get into it. So these are 5 fast questions. They do not have to be fast answers. I like to put it on an index card because it makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
Hell yeah.
And I like to motion with it. So,
I like that.
Boom.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what is a favorite ritual of yours? So, for example, I love brewing tea in the morning. It makes me happy.
I actually love pulling espresso shots.
Do you
I like
have
to
like
make
a good espresso
yeah,
machine?
Yeah, I have a good espresso machine. When I was working at my tech company and they gave us work from home budget during COVID, I was like, I don't need a desk. I already have a desk. I bought an espresso machine and I just sent it in. I was like, if they don't approve this, they won't approve this expense. Approved it.
Of course.
Within 24 hours, I was like, great, no one's reading these. And I love the crema on top of the espresso as you're like pulling that shot. It's beautiful.
Do you like dial it in? You use a puck, like you do the whole thing?
Oh, dude, you gotta like get the. And I don't like I don't have like a tamping machine. I like to tamp it, but you figure out the roast size, all of that. It's a good time.
Oh my God, I gotta come over for some.
It's
coffee.
a good dude. Come over for some coffee.
I'm already thinking about all of us grabbing dinner, but question 2: what is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Oh my God. So a running bit I have with Sonali and my wife is we'll be on the street and like we'll see another Indian person or family walking and I'll just point to them and be like, do you know them? As if I'm also not brown, but I'll just look at her and be like, do you know these people?
Oh
like,
my God.
Is this your family?
I do a very similar but different thing where anytime if we like pass like a group of people and Jess, who's not Jewish, she'll be like, were they Jewish? And I'll be like, you're so anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
I'm like, why do you hate the Jews? She's like,
but
no.
that's why you gotta. Jess needs to call those women at your show and be like, "Hey, Jew or not Jew?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like Deal or No Deal. We do that at the shows, Jew or not Jew. It's pretty fun. They're suitcases and it's exciting. And there's just a gold star if they're right. Question 3. Yeah, we're wading into some anti-Semitic waters there. Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion that you have?
Controversial opinion I have. I think we need to bring back the draft.
Oh.
I think we need to put everyone in the armed forces for a bit. They don't have to be in the field of duty.
Okay.
Not everyone's going to go to war, right? Ideally. But like working on ships or something. I think just we move it from bubble to bubble to bubble. And I say this because like I went to public school my whole life.
Yeah, me
and
too.
then when I went to college, it was private school. And then I worked at like nice companies. And I met so many people from like a much nicer economic background than me. And like just the lack of perspective so many people have. And it goes both ways, right? Like people without as many means don't get to interact with people with more means as much. And I do think we're at a point in American society where it's so divided and people don't really get to interact with each other. And so many of our problems come from lack of exposure. And I do think one of the things that back in the day made us more empathetic as a society and gave us more of that like collectivist well-being was the fact that the draft was there and everyone was like kind of in the military together and got to know each other.
So would this be more of a draft or more like mandatory like 2 years of service?
Mandatory conscription is a better way. Like what Singapore has, what Korea has.
Israel.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. When you first laid this out, I was like, I don't know about that. But by the end, like, it's actually a salient argument you're making.
Yeah.
Here.
Do you want something more controversial?
No.
I think if Heath Ledger doesn't die, Robert Downey Jr. gets Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Tropic Thunder.
Really?
Yeah, that's a crazy one. I know.
I like them both.
The Joker was amazing.
It was amazing.
But I think he really committed to the bit in a different way.
But you know what was crazy? Then you look at the Oscars, what was it, 2 years ago? And who was it? Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor when it was supposed to be Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, Chadwick's going to win this. I know it. They saved the category for last because they thought they were going to end being like, and the Oscar goes to Chadwick. And then it went to Anthony Hopkins and everyone was like,
Yeah.
Well, now I'll get my.
And that's twice now with Chadwick Boseman and Robert Downey Jr. that a strong black lead has been denied the Academy Award.
Oh boy! So we're gonna clip that.
That's a clip.
Yeah, no, that's a clip. So let's just get that. I'm not even talking to the audience anymore. I'm talking to the editor. We're just gonna clip that. We got that. We're gonna clip that. Question that, and we're not going to get better than that. Question 4: have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there one particular moment that really sticks with you?
Dog, I feel like I experience imposter syndrome every day.
Well, being asked to be on this podcast.
Being asked to be on this podcast, obviously, like this is reserved for other people. But I think a lot of the shows I've done, like some of the commercial gigs I've gotten, I'm just like, what am I doing here? Like, I've had fun with them and I had a blast. Obviously, like, please put me in Marvel movies.
We'll put you in the next Eternals. I think that did really
it
well.
is Kumail busy because I will lift heavier.
Well, I have heard that you are very
get there.
muscular.
Thank you.
I've heard that. That's not even a
I
joke.
love that he's like, I've heard it. I haven't seen it, but he's like, even though you're about 8 feet from...
Yeah, we're far away.
Yeah.
You brought that up before we were on camera.
Yeah.
We're too far.
We're so far on this goddamn couch. This is what happens. Josh and Jess lead a good life, so they have a large couch.
Oh, I was going to say...
If we were at a lesser comic's house, this would be a love seat. Okay?
I was going to say the reason we lead such a good life is because we stay far apart from each other on the couch.
Look at that. He's already getting in the wife jokes, baby.
Listen, I have
They're
to.
there.
I have to. I remember when I went on a rant backstage at the setup with you, and I made a comment where I was like, if we're going to get engaged, my only thought is like so many more things matter. Like if she eats half a sandwich of mine, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, and you're expecting me to marry you? And then you're like, do you do that on stage? I was like, no. And you go, you're going to once you get engaged. I was like, oh. Wait, so there's no particular moment you just genuinely are.
I think I am going through imposter syndrome all the time. Even now, I feel like we're recording this and someone's going to look at this podcast and be like, this man's full of shit. And like, just, it'll be game over for me.
I've been full of shit for a very long time and people are still listening. So I would say do what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Final question for you. And I love when I'm actually talking to someone who likes tea because sometimes I have to modify this question. What is your favorite tea?
Dude, masala chai. It's for the people.
I got to tell everyone who's not here who doesn't know this. So not every guest brings gifts. And you brought the best gifts we've ever gotten. You brought masala chai, which, by the way, is incredible. And I'm going to be heating it up as soon as we're off.
Thank you. I make that probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't make it every day.
Yeah.
But I love making it and like dialing in the recipe. So have you heard of the correct pronunciation is like Kolkata Chai Company? Have you heard of these guys?
What's the incorrect pronunciation?
Like Calcutta Chai Company.
Oh, no. Still no.
But so, I've become friends with one of the founders over the years, and she's like a really dope dude. So every now and then I'll like make chai, and I'll just text him a photo. I'll be like, "Does this color look right?" He's like, "Bro, are you enjoying it? Just enjoy the tea." I was like, "I am," but I was like, I need you to validate this. Like, you're my chai guy.
I need validation now.
I was like, you're the most famous chaiwala maybe of all time. Like right now it's like Slumdog Millionaire, Dave Patel's character, but like they keep growing. Like that reach is crazy.
I mean, I got to tell you, I if it makes you feel any better, I was making a fair bit of matcha over the past few weeks. And I was hitting up the person I know at Bird and Blend, who because I love, it's my favorite brand. As you know, we're drinking that
Bird
today.
and Blend. Sponsor this man.
Yeah, what are we doing, Bird and Blend?
Do they ship to the States or you have to buy it in London?
They ship to the States, but it isn't cheap.
Of course not.
Yeah,
because it looks like drugs.
Yeah,
it looks like a packet of drugs.
I hit up one of the people working there, and I was like, "How's this look? This matcha looking right? This matcha latte, am I doing this right?" And she goes, "It's whatever you want." I go, "But what do you want?"
Yeah. Would this pass?
Yeah.
Would you sell this to a customer?
Yeah, and and before she blocked me, I think she was going to say yes. But that's the pod, man. How do you feel?
Dude, fun.
That was Janesh Rahlan. You can find him at Janesh Rahlan on Instagram and TikTok. This episode was produced by Dylan Rosenthal. It was edited by Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco. Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepcombos. I'm Josh Lanzet, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzet. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
I do like VO audition.
Yeah.
And there's so many voiceover ones where I was just like, did not read it like that. No.
Yeah. You're like, my read was much more like, welcome to Domino's. Versus they said, welcome to Domino's. You're like, I could have gone higher. All right, I could have gone higher.
Could have.